Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a question. Why do so many people dream big, start with passion, yet still fail? Why is it that 90% of people give up, while only 10% go on to succeed? The truth is, success is not about luck, it's about mindset, discipline, and choices. Today, I want to share with you why most people fail and how you can belong to that 10% who actually win. Most people in life start their journey without truly knowing what they want. They wake up every morning, go through the same routine, chase after what everyone else is chasing, and at the end of the day, they wonder why they feel unfulfilled, why success seems so far away. The truth is, when you don't have a clear vision, you end up walking in circles. Imagine trying to build a house without a blueprint. No matter how hard you work, no matter how much energy you put in, the structure will collapse because there was no clarity to begin with. In the same way, most people fail not because they are not talented, not because they are not hardworking, but because they don't have a crystal clear idea of where they are headed. Success requires direction. It is not enough to say, I want to be rich or I want to be happy. Those are vague desires. The 10% who win are those who can define exactly what kind of life they want, what values they want to stand for, what impact they want to make, and what steps they need to take to reach there. A person with vision doesn't get distracted by every shiny thing on the road. They don't waste time comparing themselves with others. They wake up every morning with a sense of purpose because they know their why. That clarity becomes like a compass guiding them through every difficulty, every failure, every distraction. On the other hand, the majority who lack vision change their goals every few months. They start something and give up midway, and they never realize that the problem is not life. The problem is the absence of direction. If you want to be among the 10% who truly win, the first step is to stop living by default and start living by design. Take the time to reflect on your passions, your values, and your long-term purpose. Once your vision is clear, every action you take, every sacrifice you make, and every obstacle you face will have meaning. That is the difference between those who succeed and those who fail. Fear of failure is one of the greatest prisons that keeps people from reaching their true potential. So many dreams die not because they were impossible, but because people were too afraid to try. The moment a person thinks about starting something new, their mind immediately begins to play out all the negative scenarios. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I lose everything? This fear paralyzes them before they even take the first step. And this is why 90% of people never see success. They surrender to fear instead of embracing the lessons that come with failure. The truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the journey to success. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than most people have even tried. Thomas Edison once said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That mindset is what separates winners from quitters. The 10% who win are not fearless. They feel the same doubts, the same insecurities, the same risk. But instead of letting fear hold them back, they use it as a teacher. They fall, they stumble, they make mistakes, but they rise again, stronger and wiser each time. Failure refines their character, sharpens their skills, and builds resilience in their spirit. On the other hand, those who let fear control them remain stuck in their comfort zone. They live safe but small lives, always wondering what could have been if they had dared to try. They avoid risks and, in the process, avoid growth. The winners, however, understand that you cannot reach new heights without facing storms. Just as a child learns to walk by falling again and again, every great achievement requires setbacks and recoveries. To fear failure is to fear growth itself. If you want to be among the 10% who succeed, you must change your relationship with failure. Instead of seeing it as the end, see it as feedback. Instead of seeing it as shame, see it as education. Each failure brings you one step closer to success, provided you don't quit. The question is not whether you will fail. Everyone does. The question is whether you will allow that failure to break you or build you. The people you surround yourself with play a massive role in shaping who you become, and yet most people underestimate this truth. One of the reasons 90% of people fail is because they spend their time in the wrong company. You see, your environment influences your mindset more than you realize. If you walk into a room filled with negativity, gossip, and excuses, eventually you start thinking the same way, speaking the same way, and living the same way. If your closest friends waste time, complain about life, and never work on themselves, then even if you start with motivation, slowly that energy will die. On the other hand, the 10% who win are very careful about who they allow into their inner circle. They understand that the people you spend time with are either pulling you up or dragging you down. Winners choose to surround themselves with those who push them higher, who challenge them to grow, who inspire them to stay focused on their vision. Think of a fruit basket. If you keep one rotten fruit among the fresh ones, soon the entire basket is spoiled. In the same way, if even one negative person constantly whispers doubts into your ear, if they keep reminding you of your limitations instead of your possibilities, your confidence will rot away. But if you place yourself among those who believe in you, encourage you, and live with discipline, you naturally rise to their level. Success is contagious, just as failure is contagious. The 90% fail because they are too afraid to let go of toxic friendships. They stay stuck with people who make them feel comfortable, but not people who make them grow. The 10% succeed because they make hard choices, sometimes walking alone until they find the right companions. They know that it is better to walk alone on the right path than to walk with the crowd in the wrong direction. If you want to belong to the winning 10%, examine your circle. Who are you spending your time with? Do they bring out the best in you, or do they feed your weaknesses? Your company is your mirror. It reflects your future. Choose wisely, because no matter how strong you think you are, the energy of the people around you will eventually shape the destiny you create. One of the biggest differences between the 90% who fail and the 10% who succeed is the power of self-discipline. Most people live according to their moods. If they feel motivated, they work hard. If they feel lazy, they skip the work. If they feel inspired, they push forward. But the moment they feel tired or distracted, they stop. This pattern of living by emotions instead of principles destroys consistency and progress. Discipline means doing what you need to do even when you don't feel like doing it. Think about it. The body doesn't always feel like exercising, but discipline makes you move. The mind doesn't always feel like reading or learning, but discipline keeps you committed. Success is not a product of occasional inspiration, it is the result of daily discipline. The 90% fail because they keep waiting for motivation, not realizing that motivation comes and goes like the weather. Winners know that if they wait for the perfect mood, they will waste their whole life waiting. They build habits that run on discipline, not on feelings. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. At first, it feels difficult, like forcing yourself against your own nature. But over time, discipline transforms into habit, and habit makes success feel natural. The 10% who win don't necessarily have more talent or intelligence, but they have trained themselves to wake up early, to stick to their commitments, to prioritize long-term results over short-term pleasures. The 90% who fail often give in to instant comfort. They choose the bed over the gym, the phone over the book, excuses over action, and then they wonder why nothing changes in their lives. The winners understand that discipline is freedom, freedom from regret, freedom from failure, freedom from a wasted life. It gives you control over your future because it ensures that your actions align with your goals every single day. Discipline means choosing what you want most over what you want now. If you want to succeed, you cannot afford to be a slave to your moods. You must become a master of your habits. That's how the 10% rise above the rest. Not because they always feel like working, but because they work whether they feel like it or not. One of the silent killers of success is the desire for instant gratification. Most people want quick results, fast rewards, immediate recognition. They start something today and expect visible outcomes tomorrow, and when that doesn't happen, they lose patience and quit. This is why 90% of people fail, because they cannot endure the waiting season. Life has its own rhythm. Seeds take time to grow, dreams take time to mature, success takes time to manifest. But instead of respecting this process, many people look for shortcuts. They want the reward without the effort, the trophy without the training, the harvest without the planting. This impatience is what keeps them from ever reaching greatness. The 10% who succeed are different. They understand that anything truly valuable requires time, sacrifice, and persistence. They are willing to work in silence, to put in the hours day after day, to make sacrifices while others are distracted by comfort. They don't look for quick fixes. They look for lasting results. They know that real success is not like instant coffee that can be prepared in seconds. It is more like a slow, cooked meal that develops flavor over time. The tragedy is that the majority keep comparing themselves to others and think, look how fast they grew, look how quickly they succeeded. What they don't see is the years of struggle, the countless failures, and the hidden effort behind every overnight success. The 90% fall into the trap of impatience, chasing every new shiny opportunity, abandoning their plans when results are delayed, and moving from one thing to another without ever finishing. The 10% stay rooted. They remind themselves that progress, no matter how slow, is still progress. They don't waste time wishing for faster results. Instead, they build themselves into the kind of person who can handle big results when they finally arrive. Success tests your patience, because if you cannot wait, you cannot grow. If you cannot wait, You cannot handle the weight of responsibility that comes with winning. Those who crave instant gratification may enjoy temporary pleasures, but they never build lasting legacies. The winners are patient builders. They delay pleasure today so that they can enjoy true fulfillment tomorrow. If you want to join the 10% who win, you must train yourself to endure the waiting, to trust the process, and to work consistently even when nothing seems to be happening. Because in reality, something is always happening. Growth is taking place underground, long before the results become visible.